Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for GRE. We have been solving GRE math problems out of this book here, Official Guide to the Revised GRE, the second edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 229. Please turn to it. Page number 229, and today is our lesson number 320. The problem that you see there on page number 229 is the exact same problem that appeared on the same exact page number in the first edition of the revised GRE. We have already solved all the problem from this book. If you're interested in watching the original solution to this particular problem, you will find it on day number 107. Here we're going to redo it. But as I said, if you're interested in watching the original solution, it has already been done on day number 107. Here we're given a function here. We are told that h of x equals absolute value of x. What does absolute value of a number mean? Absolute value means, think of absolute value. Think of absolute value as distances. So here's a town O, here's town A, and here's town B. Town A is 7 miles from town O, and town B is 8 miles from town. Let's make it 6 miles. You'll see the reason why. You'll see the reason in a second why. This is your town O. We're showing a number line, obviously. There is a 0. A is 7 units away from 0, and B is 6 units away from 0. Now, in terms of the number line, of course, A is -7, B is +6. In terms of number line, of course, we can see that B is more than A because +6 is more than -7. But when we talk about absolute value, we're no longer talking about the numerical value in terms of where it falls on the left or the right of 0. We're talking about distances. Therefore, absolute value of A would be the absolute value of -7, which is +7. So A, of course, A is 7 units away from 0, and B is 6 units away from 0. Therefore, A is bigger than B, because the distance of A, this is what we're trying to say here, because the distance of A from 0, the distance from 0 to A is greater than the distance from 0 to B. That's all. That's all it means. That's all absolute value means. Let's continue then. So let's ask ourselves, let's call this y. So let's ask ourselves, what will be the value of the function when x is equal to 5? When x is equal to 5, y is going to be absolute value of 5, which is 5. Now let's ask ourselves, what's going to happen when x is equal to -5? In which case, y is going to equal absolute value of -5, and absolute value of -5 is also +5. So it turns out that the values of the y's are the same for two different values of x's. When x is 5, the value of the function is +5. When x is -5, the value of the function is +5. So how do we write that? We write this as h of x equals h of -x. That's all. In other words, the value of the function when x is equal to 5 is the same as the value of the function when x equals -5. Because the value of this function when x equals -5, right here, when x equals -5, the value of the function is 5. When x equals +5, the value of the function is also 5. They're both 5. Now, if you do not understand what I mean by the function and all this thing, it's important that you have watched day 318, which is where we introduced this concept of function and so forth. So I'm doing sort of a cursory job right now. Oh boy. Did we ever learn the word cursory? I hope so, because I just used it in a sentence. And now I'm curious, because I said just now that I'm doing a cursory job here. What does cursory mean? I'm looking at the list of vocabulary words. Just give me 1 second. There are too many words beginning with letter C. And, oh, there we go. Day number 22. What do you know? In addition to working on your math skill, if you are interested in getting a decent score not just in the math part, but also in the English portion of the GRE, then having a decent vocabulary is a must. If you're interested in improving your vocabulary, you will find the word cursory on day number 22. Just write down, just search for vocabulary words for GRE, day 22, and you will learn the word cursory. Cursory means to do something in haste. To do something in haste. Adverb of the word cursory. Cursory adverb will be, you replace the Y with the I, and the word becomes cursorily. You have to say it slowly, otherwise you're going to muck it up. Muck it up with an M, not an F. Cursorily is the word. Cursorily means hastily. So as I said here, I went through the concept of function and all that, all the other good stuff in a cursory manner, in a hasty manner. We did it cursorily because I'm taking it for granted that you have already watched day number 318. I am taking it for granted that you're watching these videos in its proper sequence. Otherwise, it does not work. One last question before we wrap it up. One last question. Here's the question. The question is, this function that we're given here, what will the graph of this function look like? What would the graph of this function look like? Can you tell me are you able to tell a quick answer as to what the graph of this function would look like? If not, then you have to watch the rest of the videos. Here's what's going on. We're going to draw the graph here. Here's our x and here's our y. When we talk about the function y is the function here, h of x is the function. When x is 0, okay, listen carefully. When x is 0, we put it in here. When x is 0, absolute value of 0 is 0. So that's our first point. When x is 1, what's the absolute value of 1? Absolute value of 1 is 1. When x is negative 1, absolute value of negative 1, absolute value of negative 1 is also 1. It's also 1. When x is 1, the value y is 1. When x is negative 1, y is 1. See this right here is I should write it like this. Y equals f of y equals absolute value of x. So when x is 0, y is 0. When x is 1, y is 1. When x is negative 1, y is 1 again. Right here, when x is 1, y is 1. When x is negative 1, y is 1. What happens when x is 2? When x is 2, y is 2. Absolute value of 2 is 2. What happens when x is negative 2? Again, when x is negative 2, absolute value of negative 2 is also 2. So when x is positive 2, the value of the y is 2. When x is negative 2, value of the y is 2 again. And the shape of this graph is going to look like this. Voila. When x is 0, the value of the function is 0. When x is 0, y is 0. When x is positive 1, y is 1. When x is -1, y is 1, which is what absolute value means. Absolute value means that it doesn't matter whether x is positive or negative, y just takes the absolute value without the sign. When x is positive 2, y is going to be equal to 2. When x is -2, y is going to be 2 also, and so on and so forth. And that's the shape of the graph. And that's all there is. I will see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.